So this is probably among the lesser interesting videos I put together, but there are a lot of tedious tasks to doing this that I thought would be good to show. One thing I learned right off the bat is that there is an order to everything you remove and reassemble. And the first thing I did here, trying to remove the A-pillar trim, was not in the right order. I also didn't manage to film removing the top couple of screws for this piece either. And I uncovered this gnarly area I'll have to fix later. And these are pretty much unusable. The metal inside these pillar covers is so thin and it rusts so easily, it just kind of disintegrates. I had originally kept the target top on while I fixed the longitudinal areas. My idea was that keeping it locked in place might help keep the body square and prevent things from flexing at least a little bit while I was cutting out some of the structural metal. I moved on to the rear window header panel next. And nearly all of these screws, for every single one of these panels, are these oval head tapered sheet metal screws. Something weird I found is that the aluminum trim here had a few of these notches pounded into them. I'm guessing they might have done this at the factory to help crimp the seal in place, but it just seems like kind of a hack move. Although, I have found some other questionable things like welding wire sticking out of crevices painted over with the factory paint. And I'm not trying to save these seals, but I am trying to keep all of this trim intact. Like the rear window, this butyl rubber sealant was used here, and I know that's a factory thing. I was pleased to see there wasn't hardly any rot underneath this vinyl, except the holes that the sail trim clips into. I've seen other people have to replace this whole section and it looks like a huge pain. The little studs at the base of this sail trim are supposed to be part of the trim, but they've rusted to the body itself and separated from the trim when I removed it. The only thing I could do was cut the tops off and poke the rest of the bolt through. There's sort of an upper and lower seal along the top of the windshield. The upper sticks above the target top, I believe, and it has a metal insert that clamps to the body seam, while the lower one is just a thick rubber strip. Honestly, I have no idea what these things are. Without even realizing it, I had removed basically everything holding the rear window in place, and I didn't notice it until I saw it move. The only thing barely holding in was some of that butyl rubber, and it had almost given away completely. And this is another seal with the metal clips clamping down on a seam. This one seals off the engine compartment, I think. There's also these two rubber feet that the window basically sits on between the glass and the body. And lastly, there's a seal with a wire inserted where the glass lays back against its opening. Another odd thing from the factory are these little globs of tar or whatever to seal off these tight areas. And actually, you can find these all over the car. I've even found them holding on the rear badges. To help remove the window trim, I bought one of these double-sided tools. I knew there were clips that needed to be unhooked, but I was under the impression I had to break a plastic tab or something. I just wasn't familiar with what the clips looked like, so I ended up sharpening one of the ends to help with this. As I struggled to do this, I think I inadvertently unhooked some of the tabs, so I managed to slide a whole section out. Here I could see that these tabs more or less hook on the outer edge of the trim, so all I really needed to do was pry upwards carefully and the trim sort of unhooks itself. Along the bottom edge seems to be a place that collects a lot of debris and eats away at the metal over time. As I was cleaning all of this out, I realized, like with the rear window, that the windshield was really just sitting in place at this point. After removing that main seal, there was just one more that clamps to another seam right where the dashboard meets the windshield. Unfortunately, underneath the seals at the bottom edge here, there isn't any major rust that needs new metal, so I kind of lucked out there. And that's going to be it for this video. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you think, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.